have not been recovered. Joining us now, Jonathan Tobin, the editor-in-chief of the Jewish News Syndicate. Jonathan, thank you and welcome as always. I want to get to your latest column on the Israeli conflict with Hamas in a moment. But first, these negotiations, trying to free the remaining hostages, a potential pause. What are you hearing the likelihood and how far apart the two sides are right now?
Well, they're pretty far apart. Hamas rejected an Israeli offer of, a temporary ceasefire for release of dozens of hostages. Hamas, they're the kidnappers. They're the criminals in this negotiation. They are trying to drag this out as long as possible because they are hoping that the West, the international community, will save them from the consequences of launching this war and of kidnapping so many people, as well as, slaughtering 1,200 Israelis and wounding thousands more. There is pressure within Israel from the families. That's true in any democracy. People want to get these people home. That is one of the two objectives of the Israeli offensive. But the other, Israel isn't going to sacrifice the other objective, which is to eliminate Hamas from Gaza. It's trying to do both. But in the end, it's up to Hamas as to whether this suffering ends. And they're trying to play whatever cards they have left in their hand.
This conflict happening a world away, but it is hitting very close to home, especially as we go into the holidays. Families will gather. We're all talking about what is happening in Israel and in Gaza. And your latest column, Going Woke Has Endangered American Jews, and it centers around a question that was asked in a survey. And the question was, do you think that Jews as a class are oppressors? And I want you to share what the finding indicated for participants 18 to 24 years old, so our college students, essentially.
Yeah, over 2/3 of the people in that Harvard-Harris poll who were 18 to 24 said yes to that. Just an openly anti-Semitic conspiracy theory that the Jews are oppressors. This is kind of crazy, but it is the natural consequence of so much of the compromise of our educational system, which has been taken over by the sort of woke ideology, the cult of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which, of course, doesn't, is diversity of everything except views, inclusion of everyone except Jews. It really, and it defines, the whole world. It breaks us up into two groups, oppressors and victims. And it does it by race. And it has defined Jews as white oppressors and Israel as white oppressors. Makes no sense. The majority of Israeli Jews are, by the definitions of the American left, people of color because they trace their origins to the Middle East and North Africa. Jews come in all colors. And indeed, the conflict in the Middle East is not about race. Jews and Arabs are basically the same race. But this has taken over our educational system. And, it's hardly surprising that the people who have been most exposed to these ideas in college and graduate school, and perhaps also in lower levels, are answering in this way, because the older you get, the more people reject this kind of slur.
And in addition, 60% of 18 to 24-year-olds said Hamas's attack on October the 7th was justified. And most saddening about what you write about is you suggest the influence of this particular age group on U.S. culture will make America less friendly for Jews living in this country moving forward. It's a daunting thought.
Well, I say it could. Nothing is inevitable about this. We could roll this back. We could reform our education system. We can, rid, our educational system of DEI and the DEI bureaucracy. The corporate and government needs to do that as well. But it is an ominous sign of where this leads. A lot of people, most Americans, were sleeping over this issue, where they thought the debate about critical race theory was just some, conservative liberal culture war thing that they could afford to ignore. But the consequences of allowing these toxic myths, these toxic ideologies to take root in our culture is that you have a group of people, young people, many of whom think of themselves as progressives and good people, believing hateful things. And that can't be allowed to stand. The point I try to make in the piece you cite is that, America, the United States, always thinks of itself as exceptional. And it's right to think of itself as exceptional because the experiment in democracy in this country is not like that of any other country. So it's not a coincidence that Jews who have been oppressed virtually everywhere in the world over the last 2,000 years found a unique home here. This is the freest, most prosperous, best home in the diaspora Jews have ever found. But if we cease to be exceptional as a country, and honestly, this DEI woke bureaucracy and its toxic ideas, that is an attack on America itself, on the ideas of equality. Jews succeeded here because this was a place where you were judged by as an individual, not by your race, not by your religion. And quite frankly, it wasn't perfect. America isn't perfect. We have history of racism and many problems. But this country proved exceptional in that way. And if we cease to be exceptional, if we accept ideas that denigrate equal opportunity in favor of equity, which is quotas and racial determining outcomes by race, that's bad for everybody. It's certainly bad for all of America, but particularly for Jews, it's dangerous. And quite frankly, if we cease to be exceptional, then this ceases to be as friendly a place for a religious minority such as Jews.
Yeah, and as you define it, the newly ascendant leftist establishment offers woke catechism of the DEI, which is diversity, equity, inclusion. Jonathan Tobin, it's an interesting read, an important one, editor-in-chief of the Jewish News Syndicate. Thank you, as always.
Thank you.
The FBI is reporting a surge in